Aquarius, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early October 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes into energy and see what's happening for the lovely Aquarians out there. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. Guides and spirit team, talk to me about Aquarius. What do you got? What's happening? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at this week? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Aquarius in early October. Seasons have shifted, my good friends. What's going on? It's a beautiful time of year, if I do say so myself. Let's get it going. Oops, thank you. Okay, cool. So this card doesn't often show up, and I like it because it has a very spiritual touch to it. Notice like with the birds, and it's a big picture type of energy that we're picking up here. It's even though we do a weekly reading here, and we're going to get into that much further because I feel like it's very complex. But before we do though, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about October subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, into the reading. Let's talk more about this card. So as I mentioned, looks pretty simple, right? We just see a dude there, there's birds, and they have strings, and they're kind of holding them up. And like you could say, yeah, it's a nice little picture, that's a nice photo, but there's a lot of spiritual implications here. Now, in divination and in symbolism, white birds generally represent angelic energy, guides, spirit team, guardians of sorts. And notice that they're kind of leading this person along as if this person's going on a journey, on a quest. So that's why I say this card to me is more about big picture thinking, not just thinking about what's happening right now, which, I mean, a lot of us are immersed in what's going on in our world and the world at large, but there could be certain things you need to look at with the big picture thinking. Like, all right, well, how does this affect things on a bigger scale, or what your long-term goals are? But aside from that, I do feel like this is spirit taking the journey with you. So for some of you, you might just need to hear, you're being protected, you're being watched over, you're not alone. That's what this card tells me, and that's a beautiful thing. So let's just put that down for now. Let's get into tarot. And I always say the first card here doesn't make or break the reading. It's a little footnote. Let's get you 3 cards in the upright, then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for my beautiful Aquarians. What's happening with my good friends, please? And yes, while we get this shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. It was titled An Explosive Talk. So for a lot of you, just know that energy could bleed over for a little bit. And what I mean by explosive talk is either 1, it comes out of nowhere, so a conversation you weren't expecting to have, or 2, it could have been a hot and heavy one, possible argumentative, or one that just picks up steam quickly. So just know that fiery communication could still be in the mix. So let's see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid. It's never set in stone. So only take it how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or someone that you're linked to. Let's get it going. 3 cards for Aquarius, please. What is happening in early October? Thank you. Okay. I mean, we're starting good here. We have the Empress in position number 1. That is okay. I'm going to try to not get too far ahead of myself because we have a lot of cards to pull, but that's one of my favorite cards specifically to start a reading with. Okay, let's get a couple more and we'll piece it all together. Thank you. Okay. We got the Magician. I mean, we have some heavy hitters showing up here, Aquarius. Let's get one more out here, then we'll start really piecing this together. What's happening? What's going on? Thank you. All right, you're going to have a bonus, all major arcana for you this week, and that is heavy. And it could be heavy in a good way, all right? And the big picture thinking is showing up here as we have the World on the back end, and even your bonus has the Hanged Man. Now, that could be telling me a lot of things, especially since this is another little footnote, that a lot of you, regardless of the situations you're going through, even if it doesn't seem like much is happening, to me it feels like certain things are building up under the surface. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first look, first glance, again, you know I usually like to look at the elements first. And when we get a rare spread like this where the main portion is all major arcana, these are powerful themes, these are powerful archetypes, And I feel like it fits right in with what I was talking about here in the beginning. Now, I was picking up a similar thing in the fire signs where I feel like, okay, there could be certain things happening right now that could affect the big picture for you going forward. Even if they're minor things, major things, doesn't matter. There could be certain things going on right now that are going to alter your trajectory. That's kind of how this feels, but we're looking good. Okay, I don't want to get anyone too nervous. We got the Empress, we got the Magician, we have the World, powerful spiritual energy here. So let's go through piece by piece and really start to build this out. Position number one, the Empress. Now, zodiacally, that links to the Libra collective and Taurus. This is Venus energy. And right now, currently, at the time of this filming, we're in Libra season. So maybe this is going to give us something about the zodiacal season we're in right now. But aside from that, what do we think of with her? We think of abundance. We think of blessings. Our cups runneth over. Usually this is very good. She links to fertility. She links to motherhood, mother figures, creation. And that's another thing that could be said about this next thing. So you might have certain situations going on that fit any of those bills. Now, in her positive sense, like I said, there's a lot of potential when this card is here. In her rough sense, this energy can sometimes seem a little stuck, seem a little stubborn, very similar to this Hanged Man on the back end. So maybe some of you might feel that. You might have a little frustration with certain things when this card is here, because it could be a little smothering. But again, I don't want to make it a negative if it's not. Like, this could be really big win or blessing coming in, depending. We just have to clarify it. Now, moving to the center, we have an interesting little twist. We have the Magician. Now notice the Magician has an infinity symbol over their head. Very powerful card of creation. So that's what these two share in common. So again, doesn't matter what the current situation is, you need to look at the final destination. Not the current situation, the final destination, because there is huge creative power around the Aquarians right now. Okay, now I say we are creator beings, and any zodiacal placement has the potential to really shape their future in different ways, but there's certain times where it's more beneficial, and I feel for a lot of Aquarians that could be the case. I'm not sure exactly what's going on astrologically, but there could be certain possibilities to really amplify your manifestations, especially with this Magician, because it's all about creating your future. In the positive sense, it's about controlling your own destiny, controlling your own path. In its challenge, it could also deal with that, right? Like, it's a card of ritual, it's a card of spirituality, yes, but when it really boils down to it, the Magician, the master of all elements, is about control. So there might be certain individuals you're dealing with that are overly controlling. Maybe you feel like you don't have control in a certain situation. There could be things you're going through where it's like, there's not much I can really do about it. It happened. Like that, it's kind of giving me that vibe, but we'll see when we clarify, because this can be very good and potent. That's what I'm trying to get through here, Aquarius, for a lot of you. Now, moving to the back end, we have another super powerful card. We have the World. Okay, and sometimes this can represent endings. It can represent closes of a cycle, closes of a chapter. This is a karmic card, and it is the last of the major arcana. That's why it does come towards the tail end. So there could be certain chapters of your life that are closing. But this isn't permanent ending. This isn't like 10 of Swords, over forever, end of the road. To me, it's like, okay, that chapter's closed, on to the next one. That's what this kind of tells me. So there could be various things closing out. This is a karmic card. It represents karmic situations, karmic ties, you name it. But I also give this an extra meaning as well. Like, it is strong fixed energy. But when I see the World, I also think of world events. I know there's a lot going on in the world today, regardless of where you live within it. World events could be affecting you in different ways in this time, or deeper than they normally do. So we'll look into this further. I mean, whether it is an ending or otherwise. Now, moving to the very back end, we have your bonus card. Like I said, we have the Hanged Man, Virgo energy, and it also links to Scorpio, in my personal opinion. But when I say, you see him there, he's hanging out, he's chilling, he's not doing much. So again, there could be certain situations that have you feeling a little stuck, like there's not much you can really do about it, or it is what it is type of energy. The Hanged Man is also very strategic and planning. It's watching as well. So whether there's a situation you're keeping your eyes on or something that you might need to plan out, it all really depends. But again, this is just a little footnote like the very first card. I want to dive deeper on all of it, Aquarius. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Let's get a good shuffle here. What do we have for Aquarius, please? What's going on for my good friends? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot. Because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on the Empress. And yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to the Aquarians, you can drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, Empress time. Why is she here? Thank you. King of Cups, aka Kyle of Cups himself, without a beard, in the upright, holding a goblet. Wow. Okay. Now this could be real good. When we have really strong water energy, this could be making you very emotional in this time. That's something we could really speak about. Now, for a portion of you, this could be a water sign that you are connected to. So Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. But if that's not the case, kings represent control of their respective suit. So when I see him underneath the Empress, I do feel for a lot of you, it's more about focusing your intention. Usually I would see that with the King of Wands, but this is different for some reason. It's more about focused intent. Living in the end, like with manifesting, similar to the creation that we've been speaking about. But a big thing I'm picking up, like when we have the Empress and the King of Cups, these are highly charged emotional energies. Okay, so although this is very good, I'm happy with this energy here in the front. Just know, and I know Aquarians get a reputation for not being the most emotionally expressive people. I'm not knocking anyone or judging, trust me. I'm not the most emotionally expressive myself, believe it or not. But when we have this connection, like you might be feeling things very intensely. So whether it's things within the world around you, world events, politics, you name it, whether it's stuff going on that you really can't change, it's giving me this vibe where like things are just affecting your emotions in a strong way. So just know if you're energetically sensitive, things could be hitting you harder than normal. So you might want to protect your energy in a big way. But the one thing I will say, aside from all of that, aside from that little emotional warning that we just picked up, there is a lot of potential here. Okay, so let's keep moving. Let's see what the Magician has to say. Because I still have this wind-based type of energy. Like when you mix the Empress with the King of Cups, like this is a good match of energy. So let's see what the Magician has to say. It's a good flow, even though it's intense. So where's the Magician here? Thank you. Okay. So we have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give a little bit of an odd piece of advice for a lot of you. Keep your intentions, your true intentions to yourself. Why am I even saying this? Okay. Normally, I'm the type of person, if you watch me for a long time, I always say, yeah, you should be open. If you feel something, say it. If you have intentions, make it clear. For some reason, I have this energy that's like giving me the opposite. So there could be certain things you're going through or working through where it's like, okay, you might know what you want to do, but keep it to yourself for now. I don't know why that's shown up. This could also represent somebody you're connected to that might be doing the same. Because the Ace of Pentacles is usually in the upright, like it's a golden opportunity. It's beautiful, loving energy coming in from spirit. Opportunities out the wazoo. In reverse, it's very skeptical. Okay, it's like not putting opportunities out there. So for some reason, I just feel the vibe like, listen, don't give too much away. Like what you're working on, like just keep it to yourself for now. It's okay. You don't got to go around telling everybody about what your plans are. I don't know why that's showing up. So maybe it all ties in. It's very possible. Like if all the emotional intensity now might not be a right time to let it out. Now might be a time to process it. Another thing I will say though, this has also given me the vibe of someone that's like, if I'm not going to get assistance, I'm going to figure it out on my own. It's like giving me lone wolf type of energy. So as you can see, we're getting highly intuitive with this spread because we're going far away from the classical meanings, but that's what's showing up. And I'm just going to tell you what's here. Let's see what the world has to say. You know, sometimes in a reading, like things are pretty straight and narrow by the book. I'm not picking that up here this week. It's giving me different vibes, but there's potential. That's the one thing I keep wanting to impress, is although I have like all these different intuitive messages, like all of this is still recipe for potential. So let's see what the world has to say. Why is the world here? Thank you. Okay, so that's much better. There's a lot of people here too. There's a lot of people here, so I mean, don't think that you're the only one going through something. Okay, like it might be a group thing, a group situation for one reason or another. So we have the Queen of Pentacles in the upright underneath the world. For a portion of you, yeah, we could be seeing a close of a chapter, but it doesn't necessarily feel like a bad one to me. Remember, only take what hits for you. You could check your other alignments. But the one thing that I love here is I always say the Queen of Pentacles is like the Empress Light. They're very similar. So the first tarot card, the last one are both this beautiful, abundant, blessed type of energy. So again, I could see something paying off for you in the end here for sure, but it's this odd mixture of energy where it's like, okay, I could see a chapter closing, but don't be too resistant to it. And another vibe I'm picking up here is, yes, like there's still potential. So like, just don't think that if one chapter is closing, that that's it. To me, it's like, okay, that chapter is closing, but there's still much more to come. That's kind of what I'm trying to get across here, Aquarius. So much potential here in the energy. That's like the biggest thing that's coming through throughout the whole thing. Let's go through and do a quick recap, because I've been saying it from the beginning. Maybe some of you do feel in a position where there's not much you could do, or you might feel a little stuck. It doesn't feel stagnant though. Like I've been getting this potential energy from the jump. But position number one, we're starting off with the Empress and the King of Cups himself chilling right there. Usually this is very good energy, but to me it did feel like emotional intensity. So just know, like, whether it's from the world around you or just stuff in general, you might be feeling things more intensely. It was a bit of an emotional warning. However, tons of potential here as well, regardless of what it is you're going through. Just powerful water energy, just like it feels really powerful. So you might need to protect your energy and even out. Moving to the center, we do have the Magician with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. This made me feel a couple of different things. One, for a portion of you, you might be lone wolf style in this time, where it's like, listen, I don't need anyone's help, I'll do it on my own. Or if no one's going to help me, I'll make it happen. But aside from that, this could also be spirit saying like, hey, whatever it is you're manifesting, whatever it is you're creating or wanting right now, keep it to yourself for the time being. Like don't let it out, or don't tell too many people about it. So just do what you will with that. Moving to the back end, we do see a possible chapter closing. We have the World with the Queen of Pentacles. Doesn't feel like a permanent ending, but it does feel like for a lot of Aquarians, you might be in that page turn chapter ending in some form or fashion. But again, there's a payoff here in the end. Like with all the potential energy, to me, it just feels like the energy is swirling, like it's not fully manifested yet. Like we see here in the middle, it's not fully brought into the material yet, but there's potential. So now could be a time of flux. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows for you. So let's get a good shuffle here. What's in the shadows for the Aquarians, please? Guides and Spirit Team. And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing. So let's get your one. And yes, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this shadow card out here. What's happening? Thank you. All right, Knight of Cups, that does tie in with what I was feeling here in the front end position. So the Knight of Cups is connected to a water sign, so Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Usually it's Prince Charming type of energy. So for a lot of Aquarians in this time, you might have a way with words, even if you're not really realizing. So I think in this time, people would be much more responsive to you, which is bizarre because we have this message in here about not giving up too much. Don't say too much. But that might be hard because people might be very responsive to your words. Okay, so now things might be starting to connect. Now, the Knight of Cups could also represent love situations, romance situations, or just your emotional state. So like, just like I said here in the beginning, you might be feeling things a little more intensely. But again, I get this vibe that people would be much more responsive to you and your words in this time than normal. I know a lot of Aquarians, fantastic speakers, great vocabularies, good talkers. But when I see this in the shadows, it's like amped up. Okay, this is Prince Charming energy, right? Very silky smooth with the words with this Knight of Cups. Now, in its challenging aspect, this is someone that could be very, very charming, even if they're not like being completely upright. But for a portion of you, it could be simple. You might just be going through romantic or emotional thing. Simple. We don't have to overcomplicate it. But yeah, Aquarius, that's what I have for you this week, my friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the October subscriber surprise. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can check out my digital calendar for the month of October at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. But for the October subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 2 copies of one of my favorite decks, the Tarot of the Owls. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's 2 simple things, as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed. Second, let me know down in the comments, hypothetically, if you had to get a tattoo of a tarot card, which one would you choose and why? You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love. I'll see you again soon.